Okay, so this is perspective in 1 point. We are going to be going step by step. So if you have your sketchbook out, you should have your sketchbook out. You should have a ruler. You should have a pencil and an eraser. You need to make sure that you have a ruler. You cannot do any of this without one. You have your sketchbook out. I would like you to be holding it like this way, not up and down, sideways. So what we're going to be doing is you guys are going to be working on we're just going to make your horizon line. We're going to make a vanishing point, and then we are going to make a couple boxes in perspective. Then what we're going to do is we're going to draw the room, and you're going to start to design some things in it. That's what you're going to be working on all this class. Today is all going to be working on the basics of perspective, getting it down right, and then just designing some ideas for your surrealist room. Okay, so my sketchbook is kind of small. So this is 10 inches by 8 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my sketchbook and I'm going to measure, because it's 8 inches across, I want to measure exactly half of that. So half of 8 is 4. So I'm going to make a little tick mark at 4. And then I'm going to flip it around. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take my ruler. I'm going to make a little tick mark at 4. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take I'm going to line up my 2 tick marks with my ruler nice and straight, and then I'm going to take it and I'm going to go across. That's going to be my horizon line. In order to find my vanishing point, I need to find the center of the paper this way. So I know that this paper is exactly 10 inches long. So I would like to find what's half of 10 is 5. So I'm going to take 5 and I'm going to make my little point. That is my vanishing point. So this is my horizon line. Oops, L. Ooh. I was right. Horizon line. And this is my vanishing point. You should have this in your sketchbook. Please take a minute to work on that. And then we're going to come back and we're going to work on some boxes. So if we need to pause, please pause now. Okay, so now what you're going to do is every line that you're going to make is going to come through your vanishing point. It needs to meet your vanishing point at every angle. So we're going to start by making a box in perspective. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a square. I don't care what size square it is. I'm going to make a 1.5 by 1.5 by 1.5 by 1.5 inch square. So I'm going to take 1.5 inches. I'm going to turn it, do another 1.5 inches, and turn it, do another 1.5 inches. I'm going to do my last 1.5. Oops, that was wrong. Do my 1.5 inch here. Sorry, everybody. And then do my 1.5 inch here. I gotta fix that other line. But there we go. Gotta click my pencil. Okay, 1.5. So you should have a box, a square. I don't care what size. It could be 2 inches wide. It could be 1 inch wide. Just make a nice square. Okay, so this is the front of my box. I want to be able to see my box going back in space this way. So having said that, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take each corner of my box and I'm going to line up the corner with the vanishing point. I'm then going to draw a line from my vanishing point, from my vanishing point to the corner of my box. Okay, now I'm going to take the other corner of my box, line it up with my vanishing point. I'm going to draw it in. And then I'm going to take the last corner of my vanishing point, my box, and draw it in. If I were to draw in this angle, which I'll show you right now, I'm going to draw in this angle to my vanishing point. All that's going to do is make it look like the inside of your box. Because I'm not really concerned with seeing the inside of my box, I do not need this line. But if you're making something that's see-through, you might want to do that, but we're not going to do that right now. Okay, so now all I have to do is just determine how big my box is, or how big I want it to be long-wise. So all I'm going to do, very simply, is I'm going to take my line that I made the box, and I'm going to slide it up, and I'm just going to draw a straight line across. Okay, then I'm going to take this one, I'm going to make my line, I'm going to slide it to match where my other one is, and then just draw a line. So the angles of the back of your box need to match the straightness of this. So this line needs to match up with that line. Now I can erase, sorry, vanishing point, you're going to be erased. So now, right now, I have a box, a nice cube slash box, okay, in perspective. It looks like it's going back in space. Now, if I want to see the inside of the box, all I need to do is find the corner, that back corner, and make a line down. And now you see the inside of my box. So this looks like it's the inside of my box, and I have the outside of my box. There it is. That's if I'm doing something that's on the ground, that I'm looking at the back. Now, this is going to be a low below. This is your horizon line. This is also your eye level. This is if the box is below eye level, which means it's on the ground. Now, if I'm going to make something that's on the ceiling, let's say I want to make a box that's hanging upside down on the ceiling, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to figure out where I want my box to be. I'm going to make it a little bit more rectangular this time, a little bit shorter. So I'm going to go 1.5. Now I'll make it 2. Let's go 2. I'm going to go 2. Oops, that's totally crooked. I'm going to go 2. There we go. Then I'm going to come down. I'm going to just do like, I don't know, 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to go 3/4 of an inch. Whoop. And this is all me just eyeballing what I want. It doesn't need to be, your measurements can be whatever. I'm more concerned with you getting the perspective than I am getting you, making sure that you're doing. Okay, so there we are. So now this is my box up here. It's going to look very different than my box down here. Why? Because I am going to be using, the angles are going to be coming this way towards the point. So I'm going to take my corner that's closest to, the 2 corners that are closest to my vanishing point, and I'm going to take the ruler and I'm just going to draw it down. I'm going to do the same thing with this guy. I'm going to draw it down. And then I'm going to take this line. All I'm going to do is, again, line it up, slide it down. And I'm going to make a nice little line. Boop. And this, if I erase these lines, is my box hanging on the ceiling. If I want to, again, I can make the inside of this box. When I do this, it's a little bit different. I want to go into the box. I'm actually going to make the inside, because you're going to be able to see the inside of the box. So I'm going to make the inside of the box. I'm just going to make a little line. Oop. And then these guys are going to come into that line like this way and like this way. Boop, boop, boop. Let's see. Okay. And then the back edges of the box. This is going to be straight back. This is like the flat inside of the box. It's a little bit crooked, but you get the gist. So this is like the inside. So let's say this is a light, and I have like a light, like my actual little, I don't know, my light bulb in the center here. So this is like a thing in the center, and I got my little light bulb that kind of comes up into my light. Yep, that would be that. Okay. Now, what I would like you to do is, if you did not do all of this yet and you were just watching, I want you to try. I want you to make one below eye level. I want you to make one above eye level. I want you to make one on the side. I want you to make one over here. I want you to make at least 5 boxes. So you can pause it. We're going to make at least 5 boxes, then we're going to move on a little bit. So take your time. Try to make your boxes as good as you can. If you're confused, remember, all you need to do is you're just going to make a box. It can be just a basic box, simple box. Then you're just going to line up your corners. We'll do it one more time. Simple box. The corners that are closest to your vanishing point, you're going to, oops, sorry. The corners that are closest to your vanishing point, you're going to just take those guys and you're going to match them up to your line. You can do all 4 corners, you can do 3 corners, however you want to work it, whatever makes it easiest for you. I'm going to do 3 corners because that's what it needs to be. And there we are. I'm going to take this side, slide it back. I'm going to take this angle and slide it back. Oops, I did that wrong. Boop. Should be like here. Is that right? Kind of. Okay. And then I'm just going to erase these points. And again, I have my box in perspective. 1 point perspective. So make at least 5 of these in different places, and then we're going to move on. So now, what you're going to do is we're going to flip over. I just flipped over my page, not to waste. Don't waste. Flip it over. What I'm going to do now is I am going to take and I am going to start to make a room. So I'm going to do the same exact thing. I know this is 8 inches wide. I'm going to go 4 inches down, make my little tick mark, 4 inches down, make my little tick mark. And I'm going to draw my horizon line first. 5 is where my vanishing point is. I'm going to line that up. There's my vanishing point. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from the, so this is going to be a room. So I'm going to go from the corners because I want to make the corners of the room go back to that vanishing point. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 2 corners and I'm going to make sure it cuts through the center of that vanishing point. And I'm going to draw it straight across. Boom. Now I'm going to go to the next side. So I'm going to take this guy. I'm going to, again, make sure it goes through the center of my vanishing point. I'm going to line up my 2 corners. And I am going to draw it straight through. Okay. Now, I want to decide how big I want the back of my room. I don't want my room to be gigantic right now. So I'm going to make it so that the back of my room, I'm going to make it 5 inches wide. So I'm just making that up. You can go, your back of your room could be this tiny. The back of your, like if you want your room to be really, really big and look like it's really deep, you're going to make the back wall small. If you want your room to be really, really big, I mean, like it's less deep and you want the back wall to be bigger, you're going to make the back wall bigger. I'm going to make the back wall a little bigger. So I'm going to try to make, I'm going to line this up straight. I'm going to move it up, make it as straight as I can. And I'm going to make it so that it's about 5 inches wide. So I'm going to go 5 inches wide here. Then I'm also going to take this guy, I'm going to scoot it down. I'm going to want to make sure it's 5 inches wide again at the bottom. So that all I'm doing is looking at where the 5 touches the line and where the end touches the line. And then I'm just going to make a line. Okay. Then what I'm going to do, and that's a little bit crooked. And you can tell it's crooked, so you just kind of just have to like wiggle it up a little. So I just kind of eyeball it and move my line a little bit up. Okay. Now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the sides of my room and I'm going to connect them. Make sure it's straight. Make sure it matches both sides. Both sides should match where this diagonal line and the other line intersect. I'm just going to make a line. Okay, so that's the back wall of my room. This is the back wall. This is the side walls. This is the ceiling. This is the ground. I am now going to erase everything in the back except for my vanishing point. So I'm going to take my eraser and I'm going to erase. I'm actually going to get a big eraser. Hold on 2 seconds. Big eraser. And I am going to erase all of, this is a nice eraser. Okay, I'm going to erase all of everything from the back. Okay, so I just erased my background lines. I'm also going to erase my horizon line. I'm going to get rid of this so I don't need to see it. I'm just going to erase it away. So now you can see that we have a room. Look at that. So this is the back wall of my room. These are the sides of my room. That's the ceiling of my room. If I'm doing my surrealism room, I might make the back wall a little bit smaller so I can fit more jazz in there. But just for now, I want to show you here what it is. Okay, I want to make some floorboards because I like wood floors. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to take my I'm going to take my bottom of my paper. I have 10 inches across. I'm just going to mark every inch across. This is for my floorboards. So if you want to make some, you might want to make them smaller. I might make a checkerboard floor. I'm not even sure. I'm going to do something fancy. Okay, all I'm going to do to make a floor is I'm going to take where my tick mark is. I'm going to match it up to that vanishing point. I'm just going to stop at the end of the wall. I'm going to draw a straight line. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to find that tick mark, match it up to my vanishing point, find the wall, draw a straight line. I'm going to do that all the way across. It's going to change. The angle is going to change every time you do it. You're going to need to move your paper around a little bit. And you will see, you're going to get nice. Of course, the center one, the 5-incher, is going to be perfectly straight with that vanishing point. I'm going to make sure that my tick mark, again, matches that vanishing point. Draw my straight line. It's fairly simple. So now I have some beautiful wood floors in my room. There we go. Now, that's it. If I wanted to now jazz this up, let's say I wanted to actually add some wood grain, I can add some wood grain to my floors. And again, when you're doing like your coloring, this is when this is going to come into place. I want to make a little knot in my floor because that looks fancy, special. And that's it. I'm just going to add a little wood grain in there. Bam. Now it looks like a cool wood floor. Let's say I want to make a checker floor. All you need to do now is just kind of line up. I want to go every inch again. So it's going to be, no, I don't want to do that. What do I want to do? I'm going to go every ½ inch down. So I'm going to go ½ inch, ½ inch, ½ inch, ½ inch, ½ inch. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to go ½ inch, ½ inch, ½ inch, ½ inch, ½ inch, ½ inch. Okay, now I'm just going to take these dudes and I'm just going to line them up, straight line it. Boop. Next one. Straight line. I always love a black and white checkered floor. If you ever watch Tim Burton movies, he always uses black and white checkered floors in most of his movies. You'll always see a black and white checkered floor somewhere. They are pretty fancy, I have to say. Okay, we'll leave it at that. So there's my black and white checkered floor. So if I wanted to, like, actually make this black and white, I just color in every other one like this or do whatever. And then I have a cool floor. Okay, so that's the floor. If I want to add, obviously I want to add like some stuff. I want to add some chairs and some tables and things like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start drawing it. I'm going to have to erase some things. But actually, I would like something, because I don't have much space here, I'm going to do a chair over along the side here, like a couch, and then maybe like a window above it. So I'm going to go and I want to make my couch like, I don't know, about that tall. This is all about eyeballing. Think about like how your room would be. Like how big would your couch be next to the wall? It's not going to be as tall as the ceiling is. So I'm going to make it about let's go 3.5 inches high. So I'm going to make that tick mark. Then all I'm going to do is I'm going to take that tick mark and I'm going to line it up to the back, and I'm just going to draw to my vanishing point. I'm going to draw all the way to my vanishing point. I'm eventually going to erase it because obviously my couch is not going to come over here unless I make it a sectional, but that's a whole different situation. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase it. I don't really need it, but I like to draw it just in case. So there it is. So that's going to be where the top of my couch is going to be. The bottom of my couch, I want the bottom of my couch to be like, if it's 3.5 inches tall, I want the back of my couch to be about 1.5 inches. And then I want the feet of my couch to be only about 1/2 inch. I don't want to see much of the feet of my couch. So I'm going to take that. I have the back of my couch, and I'm going to take my ruler. I'm going to line up my tick mark over here, draw it to the wall. Then I'm going to take this one, and I'm also going to draw it to the wall. Okay, now I got all that biz happening. I need my couch to stand out, right? So this is the back of my couch. We're going to make this really pretty at some point. We're going to have some things. This part of my couch is where I want it to actually stick out. So this is like where you would sit on the couch. I don't think I want my couch to go that far to the wall. So I'm going to have it come out a little bit like here. So now I'm going to take my couch and I want it to be straight like this, that back angle. So I'm going to try to make my ruler as straight as I can, and I'm just going to make a little, I want it to be about an inch out. Then I'm going to take that inch out, and I'm going to take it from there. I'm going to go from my vanishing point in the front, my vanishing point to the front where the edge of my, let's see, yeah, where the edge of where my feet, or I want the feet to be, somewhere around there, like that. We'll go here. And I'm just going to line that up so it all matches. So now I'm going to erase this because I don't want the back of this. I'm going to make another line. I'm going to erase this. Okay, so now I have my couch is sticking out now. I'm going to round my couch and make it look like a couch. Right now it just looks like a bunch of straight lines. It's super easy, and the best thing to do is make everything look like a bunch of straight lines to start with. If you don't do that, that's where you're going to get super confused. You know, a couch does not typically have a hard edge like this, so I want to make my couch kind of come down, so it has like that part of the couch that your feet would kind of hit. So all I'm going to do is go straight up and down, straight up and down, and I'm going to make a nice little straight line. I'm going to only go like a half inch. That was like a little bit, and I'm going to take that and I'm going to go again. I'm going to line it up with my vanishing point. I'm going to line up the edge with my vanishing point, and I'm going to kind of draw it together. So there we are. So that's like where my couch rounds down. And now I'm going to make the leg of my couch. The leg of my couch is going to be a little bit taller than I wanted it to be because I want it to touch the ground. So I'm going to take my ruler, do it the correct way, Miss Mazza. I take my ruler and make my little leg of the couch. I'm going to erase the floor so I can see it. There's my little leg of the couch. If you want to do back legs, if you want to do this leg, I don't know how long my couch is, so I might want to leave it like that. Okay, so now we're going to make this couch pretty. So how do I do that? You know, a couch typically has an armrest, so we're going to add a little armrest to it. So I'm going to take this guy. I'm going to make it the same angle as the bottom of my chair. And I'm going to do this. Whoop. And I make it come down like this. So I have like my armrest. That was not straight, so I'm going to draw that line again. Sometimes you're going to have to erase and redraw. It's all about eyeballing your straight lines. That's the trickiest part. And if we had like, you know, some T-squares, all of this biz would be a little bit easier, but we don't have those. Okay, so this is going to be like where my arm's going to hang out on the edge of the cushion. So now I want to make it pretty. So I'm just going to make sure all of these little lines go away, all the things that I just erased. I'm going to take my good eraser and just kind of hit it real quick. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I want to make this like a rounded couch. So I'm just going to kind of round the edge. And I don't mind the back being super straight because I'm going to like then add like a puffy little pillow. You know, one of those little back of the couch pillows. And I'll add like another little back of the couch pillow right there. Maybe it has like those little tufts in it. So it kind of, you know, they kind of tuft like that. And then I might want to make like a nice little throw pillow. If I make a throw pillow, I am going to want it to go to the, you know, to the vanishing point. So I'll line it up, make my little straight lines, do the same thing with this vanishing point. Again, you don't want too many sketchy lines. You want to make sure when you're drawing all those things that they're nice and solid first. So this is my little throw pillow. I'm going to make it a little rounder. Once I draw it in, once it's in perspective, I can do whatever I want to it. So then I can like make like home sweet home or whatever I want to put on it. Oop. Okay, now The bottom, I'm going to do the same thing with the cushions. So I'm going to just kind of, this is like this. I'm going to split this guy. I'm going to take this angle and just kind of swoosh it down. So this is where my pillows are going to, my couch pillows are going to be, like the butt pillows. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to kind of round out this biz so it's a little bit nicer. You know, and couches are not always like totally symmetrical. Like you have a little bit of that, the cushions, if they're worn in, you know, they're not totally symmetrical. So I'm going to do a little bit of this action and do the same thing for down here. Like I know that this is my cushiony area, so it's not totally perfect. If I want to make these legs a little cooler, I can maybe like add a little like whoop whoop to it. And there you go. That's the start to your couch. If I want to make this arm nice, again, I'm just going to kind of like floof it a little. I might want to make it, let's see, I might want to make it have like a little bit of like an edge like this. So I'm going to, again, take my, I'm not going to wing it like I just did. I'm going to take my ruler. I'm going to just whoop, whoop, and kind of like make sure the angle's correct. I also want to make sure this angle is correct, the little top of the arm guy, and then just kind of draw this across, and there we are. So that's like where my little arm rest is. Yeah, so there's my couch. Okay, so now I've established my room. I have some kind of room with a cool guy, black and white checker floor. I have some nice couch, some tufted cushions. This is where you can play. Oh, let me do a window and then we'll move on. If you do a table, let's do a little coffee table and then we'll do a window. So coffee table, all of this stuff you're going to play with. You might not want any of this stuff in your house, and that's totally fine. Depends on what you want in your house. I want my coffee table to not be too big, so I'm going to make it about 2.5 inches. I want it to start like a little bit past the couch. And again, I'm just going to line up my lines. I'm going to line them up with the vanishing point totally so I can kind of get a good idea of how big I want it. Okay, so there's the top of my coffee table. You know, I want it to be kind of long, so I'll probably go about there with it. I'm going to take this, I'm just going to whoop, do a little jimmy jamming. Then I'm going to take my eraser, get rid of all this biz. I'm going to get rid of the floor because it's not a glass table. It'd be pretty cool if it was a glass table, but I already started erasing, so forget that. So there is your table. This is going to take you a little bit to get used to. I'm still not even perfect at it. It's just one of those things where you kind of have to play. You're going to take a whole class, maybe 2 classes to really play with this, to kind of get your ideas together. So there's like the front of my coffee table. I know that I'm going to need some legs. Oops, that's a bad leg. I know that I need a leg, and I definitely need another leg. I'm going to make my legs a little bit. I'm going to go in the perspective with the vanishing point. So again, if I'm a good girl, I'm going to take this guy and I'll make sure this is all straight. Make sure this guy, yeah, it's just a straight acrosser. That's an easy one. What'd I do? That was funky. I want to do this. I lied to you. I see what I wanted to do. I see. I guess you don't see it then. That's fine. If it lines up directly with the vanishing point, you're not going to see it. So like I was going to try to make it look like this where you see the inside of the leg. I can't do that because I don't see the inside of the leg because the way I'm looking at it. So I would just leave it like that. You know, maybe I'll do like a flower pot on here. Like I want like a little doily on the table and then like a little flower pot hanging out with something coming out of it. Whoop, whoop. Whatever. Okay. So this is the basics of it. I'm going to do one window. I'm going to do a back door and then we're done. 2 more seconds and then you guys can get going. I want you to just work on this today. Like make up a room, figure out what you want it to look like, how you want it to be. Back doors are super easy. I'm just going to figure out 2.5 inches. I want my door to be about 2.5 inches. I'm going to leave room for like a door jamb, because the door never goes directly to the edge of the wall. I'm going to just make a totally straight across line if I can manage it. Sometimes I can't manage it. Beautiful. Doorknob. Bam. There's your door. Super easy. I mean, if you want to get technical and do some like pretty molding and stuff, you totally can do that, but we're going to leave that for now so that you guys can see what it looks like to do a window. Maybe I'll do the window over here. Great idea, Miss Mazza. I love it. Okay, so I'm going to take my window. I'm just going to kind of eyeball where I want it to end and where I want it to start. And I'm going to do the same thing down here. I'm also then going to take it and I'm just going to make a straight line, match it up. Straight line, match it up. Window. If you want to leave it open like that, you can draw some cool stuff out here. Like maybe you have a couple like tree branches that you see sticking out of the window. A terrible tree branch. Ooh, whatevs. And like the side of the tree. Whoop, whoop. Whatever. Maybe I have those like little cross bars on it. Like maybe you want to see that you have, you know, like it has the multi-pane window. There's that. Maybe I want to do some curtains. A little tie back. Have some pretty, oops, that has to go this way. To make sure everything lines up. That's the trick. If you don't do that, see how that line, I just messed up and I just drew that without thinking. You have to make sure all of your angles all match up with that vanishing point. You want to leave that vanishing point up until the very last second when you're all done drawing. You know, so here's some like, you know, nice little curtains, whatever. So there's the basics. That's how you draw a room. All I would like you to do right now for the rest of the class is to draw a room. I know this was a lot, and I'm sure it went fast, and I'm sure you're confused. All you need to do is review the video, stop it, start it, go on your phone, do whatever you need to do, your cool guy Chromebooks that the school gave you. You know, go online, look at the video, and play. You can make your room however you want. You can have a dining room table with a bunch of chairs. It could be a dining room. It could be a living room. It could be a bedroom. Maybe you have a bed sticking out over here and a rug and some other cool stuff. Play with it. The next time you see me, we're going to be starting to work on some surrealism biz. So kind of coming up with some cool ideas to make this a little bit more, instead of just being a basic room, bringing it to that juxtaposition, getting that cool fantasy-like feel to it.